Welcome to Create Red Deer. My name is Nadine. I have a YouTube channel called Paper Route Scrapbooking, so if you like what you see, maybe check that out. I'll be your host for today for our Create Along, and this is the layout that we're going to be working with. And it is created from this kit that you can get at the store. So the idea behind these Create Alongs is to have you follow along and create what I create. And if you just want to use your own products that you have at home already and kind of like mimic what I do, scrap lift, so to speak, I would be really honored if you did that. And then if you also want like the exact same products, Joe has created these little kits for us. That's what I'm working from today. It's a Create Along kit, and you can contact her and get one from the store. So the kit that we made this time is made with the Happy Crafting Collection by Carta Bella. And it's so cute. And Carta Bella paper is just so beautiful. It has that texture to it. So nice. There is also an add-on kit that includes a stamp and a die, I believe. I don't know, mine was all together. So the scissors die is what we made these little guys out of, and then the stamp has some different stamps on there. So I'll show you how I incorporated those into my layout. Of course, if you don't have an add-on kit or you don't have stamps, just a brush of color will do also. Okay, so I'm just going to set my layout aside and we're going to get started on creating this from the ground up. So just move some stuff here so that I can see what I'm doing without making a big mess. Okay, so I just have a little tray with my goodies for the layout in here. And I did do some prep ahead of time because I didn't want you to have to sit here with me all night long. I thought you might eventually get bored of me. So we are going to start with, with me throwing things on the floor. Doing a little bit of stamping. So the stamping I'm going to do is what we have here across the top of the layout. So I don't know if you can see that, but I made like a border of pens and pencils across the top there. So to do that, I just grabbed our add-on stamps and started there. So in this little, it's a tiny little stamp set, but it has so much to give. So I loved the pens and pencil, but it also came with, I don't know if how my camera doesn't focus on tiny stuff like that, but this has like HB, a number 2, and a couple of hearts. So we'll use a little bit of that too, but they're meant to decorate your pencil and pen, but you don't have to use them that way, of course. And I have a stamping block here, so I'm just going to put the pen on one side and the pencil on the other. And I'm going to start in the middle and work out from there. If you've ever worked in a school, or if you're a teacher or you've ever set up a bulletin board, you know that starting in the middle is key to being even on both sides. If you, especially in scrapbooking, if you have double page and you want it to be even across, you'll know to start in the middle. So all I did was I picked a little rainbow of colors. I used Distress Oxide inks, so Worn Lipstick, Carved Pumpkin, Fossilized Amber, Mowed Lawn, and Uncharted Mariner are the colors that I chose. You can use whatever inks you have at home. If you have Close to My Heart or Stampin' Up, or the archival inks will work. Whatever you are most comfortable with, go for it. I'm a big Tim Holtz fan, so that's mostly what I have for inks. And so I'm just going to ink up that pen. Oh, and that's not what I meant to do. Oh, classy. I dropped it. That's okay. It's just going to add a little interest. So Then I'm going to continue with my little rainbow. So I got a little bit of blue, and then I'm switching to the pencil side. And I got green. And then I'm just going to grab my Lawn Fawn Stamp Chamois. And if you guys haven't used these, you should. They're awesome. I know Joe has them in the store. The Lawn Fawn one is my favorite. It works better than the others, in my humble opinion. And clean that side off. Orange. And I'm just going to keep alternating pen, pencil, and then the color. And I intentionally did not make them straight. Do you know why? Because I can't do straight. Straight's too hard. And then pink. And I didn't pick a direction for any purpose. I just went with a direction so that they're all kind of going the same way. And blue. Now some of this is going to get covered up because we're going to put some paper on the ends here, but that's okay. We're going to just keep going across until we're almost to the end so that it looks like it was intentional, like it looks like it goes all the way across. So I think that'll be good because we're going to put a chunk of paper here. I don't even know if the blue one will show, but that's as far as I'm going with that. Now from the blue out, I'm going to go and follow that same pattern. Okay, so that's a blue pen, so I'm going to go with a pink pencil. I almost went the other way because I wasn't looking where I was going. And I'm going to go with orange pen this time. I didn't. So this one is Hickory Smoke Distress Oxide ink. And I am going to take the tiny little heart that's on here. It's so cute. And I'm going to put it on my stamping block. And I'm just going to put it in between each pen, pencil, whatever. Kathy and I got to meet each other in person. We went to the same crop. It was super fun. We met each other online first through Ginger's Corner. And then we realized we were going to the same crop, so we met each other there. I won't single you out, but just in case you missed your photo, check it out. There we are, having a blast. Great Canadian Scrapbook Carnival, that one's called. It's in Edmonton. Okay. Next up, we're going to cut our scissor paper. So we have, on the left-hand side, we have a 4-inch strip. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. All right, and then I have my trusty Distress ink. Not oxide, just regular Distress ink that I like to ink the edges of my pages. That's just something I really like to do. It's a personal preference. It's not necessarily part of the layout, but Jo does carry Tim Holtz inks in her store, and I really like the Distress inks in scrapbooking because they add a little bit of shadow and texture and dimension to the edges of my pages if I just ink along the edges real quick like that. And I forgot to check if I need tape in here, so let's hope I don't run out, but we will see. It's going to be a surprise. Can't remember to check all the things before I go live, can I? looks like it'll be okay. And then that 4-inch piece just goes right butted up against the left-hand side of my page. And I did use a smooth white cardstock to start. I find it easier to stamp on. And I knew I was doing some stamping today. And then on the other side of that, I have this piece of the same pattern to make them match. And this one is 2.5 inches. So we'll cut another one of those at the 2.5 mark. If you don't have a good paper trimmer, Jo has some options in the store that she's been bringing in, so make sure to check those out. And if there's one that you think you would prefer, that you've seen somewhere or whatever, make sure and ask her, because she can always order them from her distributor. I was going to call it a manufacturer. That is not what I meant. From her distributor, and get it in for you. You just have to let her know which one you're looking for. She'll find it for you. And I just really think it's important that we shop local, because I was so excited when we got a store again. I don't want to lose our store, right? So there we go. I'm sorry if my dog barks. He's a bit of a show lately. Okay. There we go. So we got those two pieces on there. So I took the orange dot and I put it along the bottom, and it is 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to cut 2 1 3/4 inches of the orange dot and put it along both sides at the bottom of the paper. One and 2. Oops, I think I cut that one too long or too wide. My bad. I cut twice and measured once, guys. You're supposed to do it the other way around. Don't do that. Okay, so again, I'm going to ink the edges of my orange dot paper with my Hickory Smoke Distress ink. It's my current favorite distress ink. I go through phases. My other two favorites are Black Soot Distress ink and Vintage Photo Distress ink. I feel like if I had only those 3 for the rest of my life, I would be okay. But I actually have all the colors, except for the most recent one. I can't remember what it was called. It was uninspiring to me, and I didn't rush out to buy it like I do usually when they get a new color. But I think it was another gray, but it wasn't as nice as this gray. So, fail. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't a fail. That's not what I needed. I think, I've heard of Vicki Boutin. Do you guys watch Vicki Boutin? If you don't, you should check her out. She's amazing. She's not only a creator for designer for American Crafts, but she's a scrapbooker. So if you go to her personal website and her personal YouTube channel and her personal I guess it's not her personal Facebook page, but her own like Vicki Boutin Facebook page, she goes live almost once a week. Like, she used to go live once a week during the pandemic, and I think unless she's traveling or has like a family commitment, she goes live every week, usually on Fridays, but not always. I guess also if she's teaching, because she also teaches live from her home. But she's pretty cool. And I heard her say she would like Tim to create a Barbie pink distress ink and a Distress Oxide. And I heard Shamel, if you've seen her, she's also a designer for American Crafts and is a scrapbooker. And so I love watching both of those two women. They're amazing. And Shamel wants a peach, like a true peach. I think he keeps saying he already has a peach, but I can't remember, and I can't remember what it's called now. Marigold or something, but it's not a true peach, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a color expert. Lost Shadow, yeah. I use it for inking. Yeah. Yeah, I should probably get it. I will eventually. Okay, so that is, oh no, one more thing for the basic base of the page, and that is the other piece of this rainbow. And I am going to just cut it. I can't remember how wide I cut it. Less than an inch, 3/4 of an inch. And I ran that across this part of my page. And there we go. Oh, that's too much. Again, oh, that time I measured twice. Smarts. Getting smarter as I go. I'm a bit nervous, guys, so be patient with me, okay? I don't usually do things live. I usually record it and then I can edit it and cut stuff out when I do things wrong. So it's a bit scarier to be live and like makes mistakes like that on camera. But that's okay. You guys will forgive me, right? For now, anyways. Okay, so all I did with this one, and this is a little trick that I learned from, what's her name? Allison Davis. Have you ever watched her? She is, I don't know if she's, I don't think she designs paper, but she designs for her own family's business. So they own a business in the States somewhere. A scrapbooking store, and it's also an online store, and you can't order from their store in Canada, but you used to be able to, but you can't anymore. Anyways, she does teach classes online, and I've taken a few of her classes, and one of her tricks is to make things go across the page. If you don't have enough, is like, see how this obviously isn't going to reach all the way to here, but because this is a stripe, if I cut here, and it's going to be behind my photo in this particular case anyways, but I'm going to show you the trick so that you can take it and use it somewhere else. So I'm going to line this up. So I want it to go all the way to this paper, but because it's a stripe, if I just cut these two pieces so that the stripes are still the same, like the colors are still the same length, then when I match them up, you won't be able to tell, because it is a stripe, that it is going to be, you won't be able to tell, right? So if I hold it up to there, you can't really tell that that's a different piece of paper because the seam is hidden in between the stripes. Yeah. So that's my little trick of the day. But it's not my original trick. I learned it from Allison. And I absolutely love her classes. So I haven't taken one in a long time. I should probably do that. I have like a list of classes that I've purchased though and not done. So I probably have one of hers kicking around that I should just do that I've already paid for. Sort of how I roll. Okay, so next up, that is kind of the base of my pages. Yeah. Oh, I forgot my stripes along my borders. Okay, I'll do those next. So I do have a blue and navy border here that I kind of forgot about, but that's okay. I'll put it on there. And so I'm just going to take my navy cardstock. You could use any color of cardstock that's in your kit. So if you had like a gray or a red, there's lots of colors in here to match with. Isn't it fun that they made a collection that's all about, not about our families, it's about our own hobby, like the things that we like to do. I think that's really important to document too. I'm not sure what will happen to my scrapbooks in the future, but to me it doesn't really matter. I scrapbook because I love it. and it makes me happy. And I enjoy the social aspect of it too. That's why I'm so happy that we have a store. Because we can gather there and do things. Do all the things. There we go. Probably don't really need to ink this one because it's pretty dark already. But I do feel like it does tie all the papers together too if they're inked all in the same color. But okay. Oops. Do you guys have a T-square? Because I love my T-square. You can get them at any drafting supply shop. Joe has some in the store too, that are probably better than this one. This one was a cheapie, but it's like like I said, I don't have an eye for straight, but especially when I'm on camera, unless I stand over my picture or my layout and put my head like right in the picture, I can't tell if it's straight. So that's why this comes in so super handy. Like sometimes I can tell by looking on the screen that it's not straight, but I can't fix it because it doesn't make sense in my brain. There we go. We got those. And I'm noticing also we have a stripe strip again across the bottom. I do love my striped strips. I feel like the striped papers in every collection are such a gift because they give us that little bit of color that covers like all the colors, right? So this little stripe is going to give us every single color in the collection. And all I did was I cut a quarter. Which ones did I not use? Had to think about that for a second, I think. Okay, I think this side. So you can use whichever cut aparts you want and don't use your stripe strip from the ones that you want to use. But I didn't use these 3 DIY, this one or the Happy Crafter. So those are the ones that I'm going to cut my stripe strips from. But everybody is going to scrapbook about something different, right? We don't all have the same pictures. So go for it and pick whichever cards you don't want to use and cut from there. I'm going to ink up my edges because that's what I like. So on this one, I did include from our table or from our name tags that they gave us. I just kept mine and then added it to my page. So it has like my name and what table I sat at and what carnival, 16th annual. And it just happened to go really nicely with the colors of this collection too, which was a happy accident, but it doesn't have to. I don't worry about it when it doesn't. Great Canadian Scrapbook Carnival is from the Creative Scrapbooker magazine. And Crop and Create is from the Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. Aren't we lucky in Canada to have 2 magazines? It's kind of cool, isn't it? And we used to go to Crop and Create in Calgary. And then, of course, during the pandemic, we couldn't do that anymore. So this was our first one at home. These are the people I usually go with. That's me and my mom and my friends Toby and Beth. And we usually go to these adventures together. And the first time we did one from home, we got together, and I think it was during a time when we were allowed to gather in small groups, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't remember. But I know that we did make a pact that we were all going to get together. Unless someone was sick, we were all going to get together and do our thing. This one. So in this one, instead of the memorabilia, I took a photo of something that we made. And so that's what's going to go there. I think this one was going to go here. I can't remember what order I had them in. And I mounted my photos ahead of time just because I thought that that would be some seriously boring content. But all of my photos are matted in that same navy cardstock that I cut for this. So this one has 2 mats actually. So the navy cardstock is cut at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. Okay. And then I took the blue grid paper from the back of here. So this is like a cut apart sheet kind of, but I used the blue grid side to put a second mat on my photo, and it's cut at 4 1/2 by 6 1/2. So, and then I put foam tape in between the 2 mats just to give it a little bit of dimension and interest, but that's of course optional. If you don't have any foam tape, there's lots of different options in the store. So this is just a couple of them. This one's on a roll. This is my favorite kind, is the kind on a roll. Just because you can cut it into whatever length you want it. So if you want something super tiny, you can cut it super tiny. And if you want to cover the whole back of a photo, you can do that too. And then this is another option. These are Sticky Thumb by American Craft, and they're foam dots. They're super good for small stuff. I don't like to use them on big things just because it takes forever to take the backing off of them. But again, personal preference. Some people prefer that because they have a little bit more control over where the adhesive goes. Okay, so I am again going to break out my T-square ruler as soon as I find where I put it down. There it is. And I'm going to line it up on here so I can line up my photos and not make them all kinds of crooked. So I just picked my favorite photo, and that was the one that I put the extra mat and the dimensional foam on so that it kind of, well, not kind of, it literally stands out from the rest because it's a little bit higher up, right? Just covering up my ink. And then down here, here again this is a 3x4 photo, so it has a 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 mat. This one is a 4x6 photo, and it has a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat. And I tried to keep my photo sizes as normal as possible. I had lots of photos, so printing them all in 4x6 wasn't going to work for me. And I know some people don't print at home, so that's a little bit more difficult, I guess, than if you print at home. However, if you've ever tried that's not what I wanted. If you've never tried the Project Life app, it's so super easy. It's literally like a pick your photo and we'll make it the size you want it. It's a drag and drop. It's really easy to use. It's my favorite. So if you're looking for a good app that makes that easy, and then you can save so you put them into a 4x6. So like I select my Project Life app, I drop in my 2 photos into it's called a layout, and it's just one 4x6 layout, and it's got 2 spots for photos. So I put one photo in, another photo in, and then I can print it as a 4x6. So when I send it to, when I was still printing at the printer, at the store, you just send that, you save that to your phone, and then you send that layout, I guess, to the printer, and it prints out at, I put those too far apart. It prints out as a 4x6, so you're only paying for one photo and you're getting 2 photos. You know what I'm saying? Also, you can get more space like on your layouts if you're printing smaller, right? These need to go higher up because my title needs to fit down there. I knew there was a method to my madness somewhere. Sorry, guys. Picking things up and putting them down. So in between, so I just lined these up so that they were under my stamping. Okay. And so that is about, let's see, 1.5 inches from the top. And then in between my two photos is, oh gosh, like 1/2 inch. Not even, a little less than 1/2 inch in between the top and the bottom row. And I'm just gonna see, this doesn't look quite right to me. This one has to come down a bit. But I want to leave most of this orange showing so that I can put my title down here. Because see how the title kind of comes up on there? It looks like my other one, I didn't stamp down as low. That's why. So like if you look here, my stamping was really close to the top here, whereas here it kind of came down a little bit more. But either way is fine. I don't need two of the very exact same layout, I guess. Hey. So if you like it better above the thing, let me see. These ones start down at 1 inch from the top, and there is about a 1/4 inch in between. So that's the difference there. Either way is fine, of course. Everybody has to do things to fit what photos they have, what story they want to tell. If you're a tried and true one-page scrapbooker, just do 1/2 of it. You don't have to do both sides. And same with, I think the third layout that I'll do for this create along is a 1-page layout. If you are a tried and true 2-page scrapbooker, just add another page. Make it similar. There's no rules. There's no wrong way to scrapbook. As long as you're getting your photos into a book and putting some words with it to tell a little bit of a story. Oh, this is supposed to go up. For example, this does not go down yet. Sorry, guys. I'm completely too chatty and not paying attention. Now I lost my train of thought. I was talking about scrapbooking, and there's no wrong way to scrapbook. And as long as you get your photos and a little bit of words to tell your story, that's scrapbooking, right? So even if it's a title and a date, I do recommend that on all of your photos, there's somewhere that indicates who's in the photo and at least the year, if you can remember the year or the decade. Because I'll tell you what, when I went through pictures of my grandma's, I really had no idea. I had very little idea who most of the people were. I definitely didn't know when the photos were taken, where they were, if they were even of my own family, or were they like friends, or unless they had my grandparents in the photo, I have no idea. Okay. Now down here, where the last photo is going to go, that's where I had my little cluster here that had my memorabilia on it. And it started with a couple of cut apart cards. So I went to the 3x4 cut apart cards, and I took 2 cut aparts that I didn't really pay attention to what they said or what the image was or whatever. I just wanted them for their color. And so I layered them up on top of each other. So I used Welcome to My Craft Room and this little floral one. And I just put them together like this. And that's where I mounted my ephemera piece. And in this case, that is where, make sure I put it the right way because they're square little creatures. I'm going to put it right in the center of my floral piece. And then I might move this because this is a square photo instead, as opposed to the other one that was the ephemera piece was a rectangle. I might just move my cut aparts to match what I'm doing here. So you can adjust those. The idea is that we're layering those 2 pieces up for the color. So it's not really about what the cut apart says, but it's using that color to draw attention to what you're putting on your page. And on the other one, it was lower down because I needed more space. Do I need more space? Yeah, because I'm going to put something there. Okay. Okay. So we have the base of our layout down. We have all the paper. We have the stamping done. We got photos on there. Next most important thing is our title. So just like I did with my photos, I pre-cut out my title because I didn't want you guys to be bored watching me choose my letters. So in your kit, if you get a kit, you get this piece of paper, and this is what I used for my titling. If you are just working from home, obviously just use whatever title you want to use. I like these tile letters. I think they're a lot of fun. So this one, the other one I titled Scrappy Weekend. This one I titled Crop and Create Delivered. The way that I did my title was to pop up some of the letters so that I can overlap them a little bit more. And that way I can fit more on there. So that's where these little dotty bits are going to come in handy. And I think I'm going to start, I want the bigger ones because then I need fewer of them. So let's start there. And I am going to start with gluing this one down. I think I'll start the first one popped up because I want it to stand out a bit. So Crop and Create Delivered has 4 E's. And there were only 4 E's on the whole page. 2 of them were capital and 2 of them were lowercase. Actually, this one, sorry, it has 5 E's because Delivered had 3. So I had to be creative. You know what I did? I took an F and I colored it. So this is actually an F. And I just colored the bottom part of it so that it looks like an E. And nobody except for you and me are going to know the difference. Again, I put pop dots and I wanted to put adhesive because I was talking about my letter E. But yeah, so that's just an F and I colored in the bottom part. And I don't think anyone will ever notice. Yeah, on this one I had room for these 3 images, but on this one, because my title is longer, I probably won't. So like I said, make your layout do whatever you want it to do. So we got our photos, we got our title, our stamping's done, our paper's on there. So I think it's time to embellish, my favorite part. I'm going to start with this side. So I have Crafter's Gonna Craft. I have a little pair of scissors. So the scissors, remember, came from the add-on kit, which was this die, and it is by Marianne Design, and it's Creatables. I think I also used like a yep, there it is, flower and an orange strip. These are from the cut apart sheet. So that blue grid that we talked about that has the cut aparts on the back, that's where I got this blue flower and this orange piece here. This one was fussy cut from the 3x4 cards. So I'm just going to take this. I'm going to cut that off. So I also am going to use this little piece that says Happy Crafting as an embellishment. Even though it's just part of the branding strip, it's not really meant to be part of your creation necessarily. But I just love how they're still really pretty. And I usually try to use 1 or 2 of these in a collection if it's like got a sentiment that's usable, like this one, Happy Crafting. Well, I'm actually scrapbooking about crafting, so yeah, I can use that. And then I think one that I used recently from another collection. Did you guys have Echo Park's Be Happy collection? Oh my gosh, so freaking cute. I loved that collection. And So I also used their little phrase at the bottom of their papers because it's so cute. Be happy. And it's got little bumblebees all over it. A little bit more ink. There we go. So it also just gives you that extra embellishment without having to spend a ton of money. That's why this Alpha too is awesome, because a piece of paper is what, $2? Sometimes less. And an Alpha is like $10. So if you can get a whole alphabet with 2 upper and lower case of each letter for $2, that's a big money saver when you're comparing it to like a pack of thickers or whatever, right? Okay. And then this little piece, I'm just going to tuck in on the side. I think I was just going to tuck the flower in underneath my photo. Maybe I want it over here. Kind of like it to go with the sentiment there. Happy crafting, and it also brings the pink across. Now this one I think I'm going to put some foam tape on to pop it up a little and give it some dimension onto my layout. And if you don't have the add-on kit to cut these little scissors, use a punch or something to make some stars or circles or just a little something, because I think if you have that kit and you didn't get the add-on, and but you'll still have that piece of silver paper in there. Thanks, Joanne. Yeah, I like those letters too. It's just a sheet of paper, so it's like super inexpensive way to get an alphabet, right? There we go. I wasn't sure that was coming off. And this particular adhesive foam is a Tim Holtz one. I'm not sure if Jo has that one in the store, but I know she does have options of various adhesives, including foam adhesives. I pre-inked this, so I'm not gonna have to worry about that. Now, I think this might have to overlap my photo a bit because I also want to put the year there. So it was the dreaded year of 2020. Everybody remember that? Most people would sooner forget, I'm sure. Some introverts wish we could go back. I might be among them sometimes. The last time I flew by myself to go visit my grandchildren in Ontario, I was on a really full flight and it was so noisy and people were being rude and obnoxious, and I thought to myself, I kind of miss traveling during the pandemic where you got a row to yourself and everybody was just grateful to be able to get to see their family, and people who were on there had to be on there because that was the only way to get where they were going, and it was mostly families going to see family. So I was like, man, is it wrong to wish that it was pandemic times? I feel like maybe, but nevertheless. Okay, so these little scissors, on my other layout I have them up here, but I don't want them like, looks like I'm stabbing myself in the head there, so I think I might just put them down here, or maybe with the year. Yeah, I think I like them there. So because these are so tiny and narrow, I'm going to use my fine line bottle. And this is just liquid glue. Everybody has their favorite liquid glue. Mine is Scotch Tacky Glue. I know a lot of people really love the Art Glitter Glue. And what's the other one that's really popular? I can't remember now, but everybody has their preference. This one's my favorite. I like it in the fine line bottle because I have shaky hands. And then I took these were also in the kit. They're just little gems. So if you have little gems or little enamel dots would work. I just took one of the medium-sized ones and I just put it on the center of my scissors because I thought that was kind of cute. Scissors usually have a little thing there, right? I think all the other embellishment I had on this side was just a little piece of, it's like one of the cut-aparts that was tiny, and it was actually like I think it was like a 2x3, and I cut it into 3 pieces. So, I don't know. And made it, I just wanted these little tabs just because it brings the color, has all the colors on it. I really like that. I like when an embellishment brings you all the colors. Now, like I said, on this side, I had all of these 3 bits. So it's on the back side, actually, of the alphabet. So there's 3 down here, too. There were also 3 up in the top, and those are the ones I cut off in anticipation of using them for this layout, but I don't think they're going to fit. So we'll see if I use them or not. But Craft More, Worry Less still goes with this layout, although I'm not sure if it'll fit there. And then I had this little piece, which was cut out of it's the blue grid on this side, and then it's got cut apart pieces in there. So I have this little notebook piece, and on top of it I put this little bit, which was cut from the back of the alphabet sheet, and my paint piece. So those are the 3 that I had tucked in behind my photo, or not behind my photo, behind my cut apart. That was Craft More, Worry Less. This also was a 3x4 card. So these were both 3x4 cards, but I didn't use them with the whole card on them. I cut out the part that I wanted as like a die cut, and that's another tip for saving money. A die cut pack is like $8, $7, and a piece of paper is like $2 or less, right? So if you buy the piece of paper and cut up what you want, you're saving $5. You can get a whole embellishment pack out of a sheet like this. So don't ignore those. If you don't like the cut aparts, don't ignore them. Look at what else they can be for you. So I think I'm going to have to lift up my title a bit and move this in. But first I'm going to attach these together and tuck it in behind. So I'm just going to add a bit of adhesive across the bottom of this little cluster. So I just put adhesive across the bottom of the cluster, and I'm going to tuck it in behind this so that it stands up there. Then I'm going to lift these. This is why I like my ATG too, is because I can pick things up and put them back down, because I change my mind an awful lot when I'm scrapbooking. Or I get things down and then I think, oh my goodness, it doesn't fit. And this is how I get it to fit. I pick it up and I put it back down. And is it okay that I covered up some of that table of food? Yes. Does anybody care that I covered up the pickles? No, nobody cares. Now I'm just going to tuck these back on here, finish up my title. So that is how I did that little cluster there. And then it also has another pair of those scissors. So I'm going to grab another pair of those scissors from my tray that I already cut out with my trusty die from the kit. I'm going to grab my quick dry glue and put just a little bit on there, because it doesn't take much. It does stick pretty well, and these aren't very heavy. Tuck it in behind there. And then I'm going to take another one of those little gems and put it on the center. There we go. And then I'm going to put my journaling. So I just took one of those cut aparts from the blue grid paper, right? And I cut out one of the journaling blocks and I put my journaling on there and stamped my date. And I'm just going to tuck it up over here. And I think I'm going to put it on some adhesive because I can cover up that part of Beth's shirt, right? She's not going to mind, I promise. And that's something to think about too, is somebody once told me, and I can't remember exactly where I learned it from. It was at a crop, and somebody came, I think it was Beth actually, that came back from a class, and she gave this tip that I think about when I scrapbook a lot. And basically it said if you look at your layout and you think something's wrong with it, it's because things aren't touching. So you have to, if you want your layout to be cohesive, you have to imagine that there's a little leprechaun jumping around your page and he can't fall. So there needs to be a way for him to get around your page without falling. So for example, if I look at my layout, everything is connected, right? So this strip connects all of this stuff. This paper connects all of these. This connects all of this orange piece with this strip connects all of those. Same thing on the other side. Everything is really connected. And one of the ways to make sure things are connected is to overlap. Okay, so I got my journaling on there. So like I said before, photos, people's names and dates, those are the most important things if you really want to make it a scrapbook and tell a story and make sure people know that, like why would they want to save your pictures if they don't know who's in them? Okay, so this is another piece of that cut apart sheet from the back of the alphabet, and it is the alphabet kind of repeated. And I just want this part that says A, B, C, D. And I am going to put it on this. This is one of the other pieces that from that same cut apart. And I'm just going to layer them up. And layering things up adds visual interest, it adds color, it adds dimension, and it just makes your layout look a little bit more finished. This one I think had something else to it. What was it? Oh, the circle. So the circle also went up there. Okay. So I'm going to just get this little circle was from cut apart also from the blue back of the blue grid paper. I'm just going to layer them up there. And I think, there we go. And then I had the third piece that I cut from those, and it went above this photo here because I wanted to bring a little bit of color into the center of my layout. There we go. And then I have a third pair of scissors. So on my other layout they went here, but I don't feel like they go very well. Again, it looks like we're chopping people's heads off on that one, so I think this time I might put it up here. That is what I'm going to do. And again, I'm just going to get a little bit of liquid glue and put those scissors down. I hope you guys can still see me. It's getting awfully dark all of a sudden. And finishing touch with that little gem there. Now, I think that's it for the layout. So I hope that some of you will either go grab that kit or grab up some of your own supplies and replay this video. It will upload probably right after I turn it off. And I hope that you'll create something with me and share it in our Create Crew Facebook page. And I think that's it for tonight. So I'm going to sign off, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your evening. Bye for now.